practitioners to approach funders and say, hey, my program's in an intermediate phase. That means they're really in exploration. Or my program's in advanced and we're expecting kind of employment. So that's how employers are getting involved. Helping funders understand where they're investing in a program, what are the outcomes that they're expecting to get. And also the policymakers, who's making decisions on our funding. So that's really what the Career Development Framework was intended to do, and we've really seen great strides in the past 2+ years since it's been released in locally coordinating many of the stakeholders listed here around some of these common themes. And so as Roxy and Shakima have mentioned, we've highlighted a little bit about the phases, and so highlighting the fact that we've identified 3 specific phases in young people's programming experiences. So early is really around the awareness of the variety of careers, looking at some of those individual assessments, what are career pathways, understanding that. Just because it's early doesn't mean it's for young people. So what we're seeing, especially with the population served through this RFP, is many people may have missed this step. And so we do call out, how are you going to address that if a young person has no understanding of careers, what are some of the approaches that you might take, right? Not that this program is intended to be in that phase, but recognizing that young people coming into your organization for E3 services may need some of those early awareness phases. Intermediate, which is really that exploration and preparation. And so how are we getting through targeted work-based experiences and foundational skill development? That is really where we're seeing this current investment focusing on, realizing that we have a large group of opportunity youth, that population 16 to 24, who are disconnected from school and work, that are likely missing some of that upskilling, right? Whether they've had some of those early experiences, are interested in those advanced, but maybe not testing academically or literacy and numeracy at the right level, or never have had an opportunity to get kind of hands-on work-based programs, or really just need that caring adult to help them navigate the various systems to help them reach their goals. So within that intermediate phase, that's really about those transition points, right? And then finally, the advanced training and immersion, where people are developing specific skills and engaging in authentic career experiences. Those can be pre-apprenticeships, apprenticeships, a traditional post-secondary, right, where you are declaring a specific major or taking classes in a specific area. Occupational skills training. These are the types of programs that we would expect in advanced. And so we wanted to really make sure that we called out that this current investment that we're talking about is really focused on that intermediate phase, preparing for that next step. But we want you to also be able to articulate what some of those next steps might be and what connections you have within those next steps. And you'll see that kind of articulated in the RFP and also in the questions that you're responding to. We also, in our career development framework, highlight the very specific skills and mindsets that we're expecting programs to focus on when they're working with young people. And that's ranging from the academic and technical skills, including numeracy, literacy, and technical application, whether that be digital skills, financial literacy, things like that. I think that's a specific key in this particular E3 services, because we are seeing many young people coming into our current system lacking some of those literacy and numeracy supports. And so how are we really focusing programs on that? Those 21st century skills around teamwork, collaboration, communication that are critical to ensure that young people are able to both work with themselves, their peers, and then ultimately, ideally in those advanced phases and the employers that they hopefully will then be connected through in their career pathway. The character development around resilience, mindfulness, curiosity, courage. These are the types of things that we know young people need, and we want to ensure that programs are able to, through their programming, deliver those types of experiences. And then finally, reflective practice. And so what you'll see is within the intermediate stage, and really within every stage of our framework, we're expecting programs to be able to deliver these types of skills and mindsets. And if not delivering them by your own individual organization, where are you connecting with others? If that's something that you're saying, you know what, we're not looking at that in our services, but we have a partner that is an expert in these areas. And that's really going to be important for us to see. And so we looked at the intermediate, early, and advanced, and as we said, E3 is really looking here, and then transitioning into that advanced phase. And then you see after the advanced phase, we're really looking at career entry. One thing that I will call out is we expect in the intermediate phase to have some type of work experiences, right? So we expect a young person in the intermediate phase to be absolutely able to get some type of paid work experience through an internship type of experience. They also should be able to get and achieve, part-time, entry-level employment, even part-time or full-time employment. So we do want to differentiate career being that long-term career with a pathway, family-sustaining wages, is different than being able to achieve a job or employment. So within the E3 Power Services, there is a very strong focus now on making sure that young people in your programs are getting some type of work experience there that can help them on their pathway towards a longer-term career. And so I'm going to pass this back to Roxy, and
All right, so I want to make one quick correction. I'm so sorry for any confusion. I had a wrong date and day mismatch. Some of you are nodding your heads, you caught it. I'm sorry about that. Any questions submitted today during our bidders conference, we will post those questions and responses by this Friday, January 31st. That is not February 3rd, it's January 31st. I'm so sorry. This is one of those things, you look at the dates over and over again to make sure everything is correct, to not confuse people and you miss one. So thank you for understanding about that. Okay, so let's jump in now into our E3 service model pathways. So for those of you who are familiar with our current E3 model, we are definitely, as you can see, we are still orienting services around the pathways of education, empowerment, and employment. But I think as you've been hearing through our presentation, we are looking in this RFP to hear a fresh take from all of you on how these pathways are implemented and how participants are moving through those pathways, okay? That is articulated in the RFP, and just, hopefully we're kind of making that clear in this presentation as well. So in the education pathway, here it's providing a broad array of educational services that support youth at various academic levels. And so services here include literacy supports, referrals to secondary credential preparation, if not being provided by the applicant, and post-secondary access and planning. So again, really thinking about the variety of participants who might be coming to you looking for services. Programs must have a robust focus on low literacy supports and strong referral partnerships to GED or some sort of high set, these alternative and secondary credential preparation services, if not being provided by the applicant. In the empowerment pathway, this pathway is designed really to be the anchor pathway, and all other services in terms of education and employment should really be coming from this pathway. There's a primary focus on coaching or upskilling using priorities identified during initial case management and enrollment sessions with participants to determine the necessary supportive services and coaching. In the employment pathway, we are, as I think you can hear throughout our presentation so far, we are really heavily focused on employment preparation, with an end goal of transitioning participants into employment, post-secondary education, pre-apprenticeship programming, or other training programs. And again, those are the kinds of programs that when we talk about career development framework, advanced phase programs, these are the kinds of things we mean. Paid work experiences must be prioritized and planned for and budgeted for by all applicants. Okay, so we'll go through now the kind of the phases of service delivery. And again, I'm not sure if you're noticing as you're following along, but we do have a little tag here in the corner where exactly in the RFP you can find this information. So hopefully that will help you as you're referring back to the RFP. And again, this will all be posted online. So recruitment. Participants will be recruited and onboarded into E3 services in an intentional way with a multifaceted plan in place. Applicants will be responsible for developing recruitment strategies to meet programmatic targets and prioritizing populations. Intake and enrollment. During the initial case management, intake or education and career plan next step must be identified and all relevant services tailored around this plan. At the time of application, organizations must articulate a clear referral protocol for provision of services not available on site and include official letters of partnership with relevant organizations on official letterhead to show direct contacts for participant referrals. Upskilling. So we're kind of talking about this as introducing upskilling for those of you who may not be or who may be familiar with current E3 services. Now the core of all E3 services, all other services that members will receive will be a result of the needs identified through the initial intake and enrollment and ongoing upskilling and transition services. Staff will be required to meet with participants on at least a monthly basis to ensure that any potential barriers such as childcare, housing, mental health, financial aid, etc., that may emerge can be triaged and prevent future education and workforce disruptions. Because again, I hope we're making it very clear through this presentation, really our end goal with E3 services is employment preparation with education, supports and services along that pathway. Staff will offer participants life skills training tailored to participants' individual needs to increase their own self-advocacy skills and ability to navigate relevant, complex systems interfacing with their lives. Academic and post-secondary preparation. Participants may be enrolled in on-site academic programming to increase literacy or numeracy skills or brush up on other academic skills before enrollment in a CDF advanced phase program. So again, if they're coming in and with the knowledge that the goal of E3 services is to prepare young people and connect them to those advanced phase programs, we need to be thinking about what is necessary to do that right from the very beginning when they come to you. Dependent upon needs identified by the participant and staff during intake and case management, participants may be duly enrolled in E3 academic employment preparation programming and CDF advanced phase programming such as a training program, post-secondary institution, etc. The paid work experience. Applicants should look to the intermediate phase of the career development framework to determine relevant skill building to prioritize for participants. Applicants are required to offer subsidized work opportunities for eligible program participants each fiscal year. A high-quality work site facilitates meaningful work experience by exposing participants to the skills necessary to compete in the workforce. And in the RFP, we do have an appendix that goes into some more depth and detail about quality work site and quality work site experiences. Transition and follow-up. Applicants must provide a specific focus on providing members with supports to help them identify an educational and or career pathway to successfully transition into a post-secondary opportunity. Service providers are required to follow up with participants for at least 90 days after their official exit from E3 services. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Darnella Harvey, who is our program manager for year-round services here at PYN.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Darnella Harvey. So I'm just going to go through a few slides. One being compensation. So incentives and wages, thank you, are both allowable costs. They have to be in your application budget. And so for wages, they should appear in your budget as it reflects the paid work experiences. And for incentives, they can be used to increase and keep engagement with a variety of E3 centers. With incentives, you have to submit an incentive plan that correlates with those completed benchmarks. So incentives, they're based on progress or completion of program-specific benchmarks, and they're used to encourage and motivate reaching goals to obtain positive outcomes. When it refers to wages, they should be calculated at the wage per hour, number of hours, and should follow current and applicable federal, state, and local wage rules. Compensate participants for specific tasks and expectations of work completion as it relates to paid work experience or their internship. When it comes to recruitment, as we've already gone over, eligibility are for opportunity youth who are disconnected from school or work in between the ages of 16 and 24 and reside in Philadelphia. When it comes to our priority, again, just reiterating that, youth and young adults without a secondary credential, minimally served, there has to be at least 60%. Youth and young adults connected to the juvenile justice system, minimum 25%, and also connected to the foster care system. Youth and young adults living in a high poverty area or high poverty crime areas, pregnant and parenting teens or young adults, and youth with disabilities. So attendance and communication. So for your program communication, successful applicants will be expected to communicate regularly with their PYN program point of contact to share updates about their program recruitment, participant enrollment, worksite recruitment, participant placement, retention goals. PYN staff are trained to support program staff and can help to identify and overcome barriers that may emerge. Another thing is staff training. So appropriate staff will also be required to participate in information and training sessions offered by PYN. And the goal of this is to engage successful applicants in activities that will enable them to implement high quality services. And other professional development opportunities may be available at times throughout the year as well. That's also required. Additional operating procedures, examples of policies and procedures that you would all have to adhere to are timely financial reporting, enrollment and eligibility procedures, PA and federal child labor laws, procedures for reporting incidents, workmen's compensation procedures, clearance policies for youth and worksite supervisors, in compliance with the PA's Child Protective Services Law, adhering to HIPAA laws, PYN provides the HIPAA trainings, record retention, and other procedures as applicable. And then your performance metrics, we didn't go into detail, but if you want to review them, they're on page 21 in the RFP. But just to give you an overview of the expectancy, it's paid work experience, secondary credential attainment, placement in the career development advanced phase program, retention and next steps. And when it comes to retention and next steps, I would suggest referring to the individualized service strategy for your young people, your ISS, because in that you talk about the next steps of the young person that you're supporting. So that might be helpful. And then program determined measures, which again are located on page 21. And I'm gonna give it back over to Roxy.
Okay, so I'm going to bring us home now with some of the kind of final logistics of actually submitting your application. So again, just to kind of be very clear with everybody, so everybody knows when the various deadlines are, we released the RFP on January 17th, and today is January 27th. You are here at the Bidders Conference. As we mentioned, your final opportunity to submit any questions about the RFP is February 7th. Your notification of intent to apply is due that day as well, by 11:59 p.m. And again, throughout the RFP in various sections, you can find where these things will be on our website, the email address to submit questions to, that sort of thing. And of course, you'll see the PYN RFP at pyninc.org email address everywhere. If you can't find anything else, that is the best way to contact us, and we will post any answers to any questions there. The proposal due date is February 28th, 12 noon. I want to be very clear that we need that in two forms. One, electronic, and we'll go through what that electronic submission process looks like, as well as a hard copy in person to be delivered here. Again, this is reiterated throughout the RFP, but we all learn in different ways and absorb in different ways, so just want to make it clear, two different methods of submission. If we don't get one, we can't accept the application. So then the review period, and this is through our independent review process. We have reviewers who will read over the applications. We have a review rubric that they will utilize to score the applications. And then we will work with our partners to make the final list of awardees, and then we'll go into contracting. But so that review period will be from March to May of this year, with the notification of awards in June. And contract start date October 1st of this year. So again, the letter of intent to apply, you can do that via pyninc.org/RFP-LOI, so that is an electronic letter of intent that you'll be submitting. The proposal upload, within 10 business days of your LOI submission there, you'll receive a link for a secure upload of your proposal documents, and again, in 1 second, I'll go through some screenshots of what you'll see, what that will look like. And then the proposal due date, again, hard copy and uploads, both due by no later than 12 noon on Friday, February 28th. And for any, special cases where you need to submit before February 28th, please schedule appointments via our RFP email address, pynrfp@pyninc.org, and we'll make arrangements. Okay, so the proposal requirements. The proposal narrative must address all sections. We would like to see the formatting using 1-inch margins and no smaller than a 12-point font. You must include a table of contents that is not included in the page count. The page count here cannot exceed 14 single-sided, single-spaced pages. You'll see in the RFP, in the proposal narrative section that outlines all of the questions we need you to address. We do also have word count maxes there, so that will help you keep track. Pages should be numbered and include a header and footer identifying the respondent's name. Label each section and subsection, please. Okay, budget guidelines. So in terms of calculating your budget, the cost per slot cannot exceed $5,000 for program and administration total. To calculate your budget, total budget amounts are equal to the operating cost per slot. For each participant multiplied by the number of participants. You will also see in the RFP there is a budget worksheet, so that will just get submitted along with your full application. Administrative costs to note about when you're putting together your budget, not to exceed 10% of the total direct operating program budget. And all dollars must be allocated as either administration or programming in that budget. Okay, so this is now going into kind of the process of uploading your application electronically, which again is in addition to submitting a hard copy here, both methods. So you will receive this share file email invitation. Farah and I worked together on this one, as you can see. So each provider will receive an email after you complete your notification of intent to apply, and you'll receive instructions for accessing your secure folder for file submission. And please do note here on the bottom The contacts listed on the notification of intent to apply form will receive this information. So if additional staff access is required, please email us at the all-knowing email of pynrfp@pyninc.org. Okay, so you're going to see this. This is how you're going to activate your account. Just provide a contact name and your company. Then you're going to need to create a password. And you're gonna see all of this as you are going through the process. And then you are going to end up with a folder that looks like this so that you can upload all of the necessary documents. So complete submissions. In order for proposals to be considered, completed versions of all of the following documents here in the specified formats and in the order listed must be submitted by 12 noon on February 28th. The proposal checklist, the proposal cover sheet, proposal narrative, budget worksheet, and any legal and financial documents. And again, these are all a part of the RFP that was put out on January 17th. But of course, if you have any questions along the way, please do email us and we will post the answers. So one more time, just to get that third plug in for the deadlines. I won't go through everything, but just important things to note. Again, final opportunity to submit questions about the RFP, February 7th. Notification of intent to apply due February 7th by 11:59 p.m. And again, that's electronic. And the proposal due date is February 28th, 12 noon. Here to drop off a hard copy in person and electronic submission as well. All right, so thank you so much. I told you we'd probably get you out of here early. So again, thank you. We are sincere when we say we so appreciate all of you coming out and hearing more about the RFP. And please do not hesitate to send us any questions. We will be posting those answers. Thank you.
And I can take no cards on your way out.